Shout out Pops to you, raise a soldier, and I stand out like you too.
Pencil to paper, spoken word poetry.
Tell moms, little sis, I'll be back in a minute.
The artist, reflecting on his life, grabbing inspiration from a dark place.
I don't wish it on anybody or anybody to have that experience.
At a very young age, Walter Davis learned the meaning of pain.
They found out at birth. Yeah, I had a test done.
So at that point, they did know, though, that you had sickle cell when you were that young?
The 29-year-old Colonial Heights man was diagnosed with sickle cell disease, an inherited blood disorder that is debilitating and painful.
Life expectancy, my parents were told 25.
His first crisis at the age of 3.
Just always told that I was different, but I was, capable. I could still do things, but just in my own way.
So that's what he did. He was determined to live a normal life in between the hospital visits.
I wanted to play football, and of course, it's a contact sport and a violent sport at that.
But the grind of the gridiron couldn't prepare him for the hit he was about to receive.
A part between puberty and my early adult years that I was good for a while, and I was in the best shape and feeling good, and that's when I thought everything was gonna be okay, and the next thing I know, curveball.
As the doctors originally warned, his disease started causing excruciating agony.
I want to say 23 is I start to notice a lag. I'm starting to notice I'm lagging behind. I'm getting more tired. I'm more fatigued.
The simple act of walking was unbearable for Walter.
It felt like I was walking on my bare kneecaps. Each time I step, I felt like I could feel the concrete or whatever was beneath me sometimes. That's how deep to the bone the ache was.
The constant physical pain resulting in more than 150 hospital visits.
The past 10 years, I'd been getting admitted at least twice a month and staying a week or 2 weeks, get out, go back in.
All while enduring numerous infusions, fluids, drugs, and trials, resulting in fleeting relief from his suffering.
I didn't want to be here anymore. That's how painful this disease is. And that will to live, that fire, it had been extinguished. It had been extinguished.
The saddest thing, which is not necessarily true, but many doctors still say, don't plan your life, you're gonna die. Don't worry about having to go to college. Don't worry about training for a job. You're gonna die.
Dr. Wally Smith, distinguished professor of sickle cell disease at VCU, met Walter when he was 15.
The pain is not relenting, and it's severe, and it doesn't go away for days, sometimes weeks.
An incurable disease first discovered in 1910, wreaking havoc on patients for more than a century, now has a glimmer of hope.
What's happened now is revolutionary. What have been called space age 10 years ago is now real.
VCU Health was approached about a potential breakthrough clinical trial, gene therapy. They accepted and set out to find candidates.
We were scouring our population for people who were sufficiently motivated, sufficiently needy, and had enough family support that they would be in the trial. Walter fit all three of those.
Walter took a chance, specifically on gene addition, where his own blood stem cells were collected and then genetically modified to produce blood that doesn't sickle.
We all have our part to play. My part was to play the guinea pig this time. I'm one of 33 in the United States to get it done. So that puts it in perspective.
Wow, 1 of 33.
1 of 33. It's like winning the lottery.
You can achieve anything as long as you have the willpower.
You had no idea what was to come, and you were still super positive about the experience.
I didn't have a choice. So, they were just telling me, they were just trust me.
But currently undergoing a process to get my sickle cell cured, and what they're doing is they're doing genetic editing. It's life changing, and it's not just going to affect me, it's going to affect a lot of people in the future.
One of the major risks of this experimental treatment, high-dose chemotherapy.
I'm having like all the side effects of the chemo now, with the mucositis and the loss of my hair and everything. And I just wanted to document this.
Which is needed to weaken the body's blood cells so that when the new modified cells are infused, they will win the battle against the old cells that created sickled blood.
They said I'm gonna have more days like this. It's just a lot of fatigue. My body doesn't feel like it's like reacting how it should. And,
The more than 1 year process for Walter finally coming to a close.
We're backing up. We're ready to go. We did it, man. We're making history.
Walter was right. Just 8 months later, in December 2023.
The FDA recently approved 2 breakthrough gene therapies that can now be used to treat and possibly cure the genetic blood disorder.
And now,
I know it needs to be spoken, it needs to be told, and who better to tell it than me?
for a mind that was once consumed with heavy thoughts of pain,
Just picked it up, like again, started writing seriously.
Walter is free to explore so much more.
Life now is a lot more enjoyable. It's a lot more fulfilling.
The 29-year-old feels like he's 19 again,
Now let me wake you up. I can't love you pouring from no empty cup.
sharing his journey through the pain,
All this pain in my body, but nobody feel it.
now able to truly live again.
Now that I have the time I can actually reflect and think about my experiences with it. Just trying to take my voice back, take my power back.